Hello everyone, my name is Gabriel. Welcome to today's after class tutorial section. Let's get started. Let's move straight into our Excel sheet for today. We are going to see how we can use Excel to connect to external source like PDF. Assuming I have a PDF file on my computer, all I have to go is to go to the Data tab. Within the ribbon, I would see at the extreme and Get Data. That is my Data tab, just like I'm doing now. So click on that and you have various options. So we take it from File and straight down to From PDF. And bingo, you hit on it, and wherever you have the PDF saved on your machine, in my case, as you can see there, I just select it and I hit on Import. What Excel will do is it will go through everything in that PDF file and extract every table there. You do not need to copy and paste in Excel anymore. So I just did same, and as you're seeing, Excel is just extracting it, and I have various options. So in my case, when the navigator window opens, I have like 3 different items there. I just click on each one, check out the preview section at the right side, as you can see, and the first one here is the table I'm looking for. And I have 2 options, either to just transform or just load. Transform will help me make some further cleanups, or I can just load and it will load me back into my Excel sheet. I hope you're okay. So let me just load. I click on that load and it just load it straight into my Excel sheet, and bingo, as simple as that. You don't have to copy and paste. Just using Excel, and just this powerful tool will help you extract any table from any PDF document, and you are good to go. You can pause at this minute and just try from your end and see. Let's see, I am using Office 365, that is the most latest version, but if you are using any other version different from mine where you don't see the PDF folder, then you would have another way around it. What you have to do is make sure you have the PDF document saved in a folder. Then let's see how we can go about it. Within my Data tab, I click on Get Data and From File, and this time around I choose From Folder. Did you get it? From Folder. When you get it, click on it. It will take you to, you just look for whatever folder where you have your PDF file in there, and you just click that very folder. And what Excel will do is it will go through that folder, pick any PDF or any document that is in there, and will try to extract the data for you. What I'm opening now, because I clicked on the transform function, is what we call the Power Query Editor window, but that will be a topic for another day. If you want to do further transformations, you can go ahead and do it here. Just pay attention to how I'm doing it now. And in our next class, I will take you through what the Power Query Editor does. It's another powerful tool on itself for data cleaning. But this time, we're extracting data from PDF, which is in a folder. I click on that Combiner button, and it is evaluating my query. And let's see what happens in some few minutes. Wow. The navigator window opens again, and just like we did in the first instance, I have those options again, and luckily for me, my table is in the first option, and bingo, I can just hit on OK, and voila, Excel is just extracting the table within the Power Query Editor window. As usual, if you have any transformations to do, you can do it there. I hit on my load too, and it will just load everything back into my Excel sheet. Bingo! And this can take you a minute or less as you practice. So we were able to extract it from the PDF folder, PDF itself straight, where you don't have the PDF option in at your point. Then you just have to go ahead and just use extract from folder, and that is a smart way around it when you don't have 365. So what we are doing for Akosia right now is we are just taking off part of the data that we didn't need, just to make sure we only have what we needed from the PDF folder, and Akosia is good to go. I hope I'm fine now. Is that okay? Fantastic. You need to pause at this moment, and you can also try again from your PC. Welcome back. What we can do is Excel can even go beyond just PDF. We can also extract data from certain websites. Assuming there is a table on a website that you want to get a data from, you copy and paste and it's not working. Just come back to your Excel sheet. Make sure you have always copied the link. So go to that website and copy the link from that website. It's like something from Wikipedia that is giving me the regional population of Ghanaians. So I've copied the link first. I come back to my Excel sheet. I hit on the data tab, and as usual, within my get data or get and transform data section, I'll just hit on the from web icon, and I can just paste the URL. Just paste the URL, and within some few seconds, you are good to go. Let's see what happens. What Excel will do is to go to the web and just extract every table that is there, just like what we saw when we were doing the PDF folder. So it is going there, and now it saw two different items there. You click on the first, the second, check on the preview section, and the one that is the table you are looking for, just like I'm seeing here. You're good to go. Fantastic. Either you want to transform the data where you do further cleanings, or you just hit on the load to. And as usual, within some seconds, Excel will do this magic for you. I hope I'm good at this point. So we can extract data from the web, you can extract data from PDF, even if you're using Office 365. Just make sure you save the PDF in your any folder at all. Then just use Excel to extract data from that PDF. That is a very smart one. Are we good? Fantastic. Now let's pause again and give it a try from your end. I'll just be waiting. All right, welcome back. Let's move to our next trick and see how we are going to do some basic savings, projecting our sheet. But before that, a quick one on how to calculate age. Can you give it a try? Do you remember how it was done in class? That if you want to calculate any age where you have the person's date of birth, some easy way around it. Okay. Anytime you write equal to today, bracket open, bracket close, it means you are going to get that day's date. And that's at the time that I'm shooting this video. That is the date for that you can see there. So today, if you are watching this at a later date, your today's date will be different from mine. And the function that does the magic is the date diff. It's like date difference. This powerful function helps you to calculate the number of years, the number of days, the number of months within two different dates. Let's see how it goes. So the syntax is this way, or the argument is this way. Data if parenthesis open, then you have your first argument being your start date, your next argument being your end date, and the next argument, which I'll call the unit. The unit can be a D or a Y or an M. Y for year, D for month, D for day, and depends on what you are looking for. Don't worry about it. In just a split of a second, I'm going to give you a practical example of each one of these. I hope you are good. Are we fine? Nice one there. Akosia is watching. Akosia, I hope you're okay. Good. So Y is for a day. Is that good? Y is for year. Fine. Good. Let's pause. Let's pause. Don't press at your end then. Just watch me do it. So you always start a function or a formula with an equal sign. So within that space, I'm doing equal sign. My date diff or dated if bracket or parenthesis open. Then what I will do is my start date is the date of birth of the staff, which is Kweku Makata. So in cell C5 will be my start date. So I select it, I bring in my comma, my end date should be today's date. And in this case, it is today. So the today as at the days that I am shooting this video. So when you put your today's date there, the number of days will obviously be a little different. And please note, anytime you are putting in the unit, make sure it is in double quotation so that Excel can recognize as well. And bingo, with no struggle. Bingo, with no struggle. So what you have to do is just go to the down right bottom when you see that small plus there, and you can either double click or you just drag, and it will just get it done for you. Fantastic. You do not need to do each one by one. Make sure you get the first one right, and you just drag or use the autofill function. Are we good? Let's remind ourselves of how we could do our cell reference. This time around, we want to calculate the tax amount. Do you remember how we did it in class? The tax rate is there, as you can see in G1. And all we have to do is just multiply each of the salaries by the tax rate. But remember, you have to block the tax rate. You have to block the tax rate. Blocking is just introducing the dollar sign before the column ID and before the row ID, just for the tax rate. And anytime it is changed, it will automatically change the rest. I hope you are fine. That is just a quick reminder of how we are able to make references and also block any cell. Back to what we have to do. Basic securities. How you have to protect some sheet, how you have to protect a cell so that people cannot just edit. First, just select the entire sheet by clicking the up right corner and make sure within the protect part, you uncheck the lock and you also uncheck the heading. That means you just unchecked everything so that nothing is blocked. Then we use a smart way. We want to block the areas where we have formulas. So we go to where I have been now, where you have your go to special, and you click on that so that the cell automatically select everywhere we have formulas. Then you can use your right click to open your format cell function, as you can see, and you go to protection, and this time around you click on the lock and the hidden. The hidden is going to hide every formula, and the lock will also lock the space, the region you've selected. Remember, it is only lock when you put in your password. How do you put in your password? Pause for a while. Don't worry about it. Go to your review tab, and at the extreme end, you just click on protect sheet, and you just put in your password, and you're good to go, just like I just did. I need you to practice this. A little effort, and you are there. Don't get confused. Just pause, rewind the video, and do it again. I'm here to take you through it. When you're ready, just let me know. Okay. Thank you and welcome back. I'm always here to assist you. Let's get move on. Let's do a quick one on the data validation. We want to make sure data validation actually helps you to limit or prevent errors when people are entering data. It also gives them the various options to select what is also relevant. It also guides them to how they can even select. Data validation is one of the important tools that also helps anytime to prevent errors when there is data entry. Select the space where you want to have your drop down or your validation. Just go to your data tab and click on the data validation icon, and it gives you these options: the settings, the input message, and the alert. I'll explain each one of them, don't worry. With the settings, you have the options to choose these options. By default, Excel will select any value. That's why you can enter anything in Excel. Then you can limit it to what can be inputted into those range that you selected. So this time around, we chose a list. And within the source, where is your list? We are going to type in the list within this data validation window. So here is a list of countries, just like I'm doing, and make sure you have your separator being a comma. As simple as that. What did I say the separator is? Comma. Word and team. And if you hit, you're good to go. What will happen is there will be a small drop down at each one icon by each one of it, and anytime you click on it, it will just give you the option so that people don't end up typing something wrongly. Some people may end up typing Nigeria as Niger, but when you restrict it and give the option, it makes it easier and also safer and less errors. Now let me go back to our data validation and let me show you something interesting. The second part where you have the input data is what happens there is the input message, sorry, gives you the option to guide the inputters. People are going to make entry as to what they should do. So in my case, I'm going to say select, let's say, from the drop down. So immediately they see the cell, the instruction is select from the drop down. So I am guiding them to do what is right. And bingo. Are we good? Isn't that so superb? Isn't it so cool? So anybody who is seeing, even though the heading is there, the input message is also telling them, oh, don't worry, take it from the drop down. Let's go to the alert. The alert is more or less like after the action has been done, and if there is an error, or if there is a problem, what instructions should you want to give them? Even if they make a mistake, you are still directing them to what they should do. If you leave it open, it is the default message that will come from Microsoft, but this time we want to input our own maybe guide that anytime there's an error, and this is what should happen. So let's say somebody is typing in maybe Sudan or something and makes a mistake, and you see what is there, the instruction comes. That is how powerful data validation is. I must tell you, this data validation that we are doing is just the basics of data validation. It can do more powerful things than this, but at our stage here, this is extremely okay. It goes beyond just doing list and decimal numbers. It also limits the number of characters that you're going to put within a certain cell or a certain range. And that comes in handy when you do something like, let's say, SNIT numbers. You know, SNIT numbers has, or social security numbers, it has its own limits, the number of characters, or even ID card numbers. It has its own characters. So you can go to the same way to data validation. And here, you're going, instead of choosing list, you choose the text length. And you can choose, just like I'm doing, I'm choosing my text length should be equal to 5. So no matter what, somebody cannot type something that is more than the 5 or less than the 5. As usual, if you do otherwise, you'll be prompted that you are making a mistake. Is that not so cool? Fantastic. This is how powerful data validation is. As usual, I need you to practice this now whilst I wait for you before I go to the next. Welcome back. Conditional formatting has been one of the amazing things that we've learned so far. Remember, in our previous, when we were having the basic class, we did a little bit of conditional formatting. This time, we go a little deeper than what we did previously. Conditional formatting can always be found within your home tab as easy. So first, you have to select the range of cell or the cell that you want it to be formatted. And we are saying we want to highlight all persons whose salaries are either below or above a certain number. So what you have to do is select where the salary is or the range of cell, any kind of cell. You go home and you move to conditional formatting, as you can see I'm doing. And our first option there is highlight cell rule. So we choose the rule. And our rule here, we can choose greater than. And as simple as that, a greater than, you have a small dialog box that opens and you input your figure and we are good to go. You even choose the kind of formatting that should happen when the condition is met. So what then is conditional formatting? Formatting when the condition is met. And when the condition is not met, leave it the same. Bingo. It doesn't only work with numbers, it also works with dates and other things. Let's see. Assuming we have a bunch of dates and we just want to highlight anyone whose date of birth is equal to a particular date, or we want to highlight, we can't use our eye to run through the bunch of date of birth we have, assuming we have a staff population or it's a population of staff population of over 1,000 or 600. What you have to do is to make it easier. You can just use the highlight cell rule, or let's be smarter and go a little bit deeper instead of using the equal to, and make it a little bit something more or less like dynamic. Is that cool? That's a smart one. Here, we'll click on new rule. So we are going to create our own rule instead of using the default factors from Microsoft. Click on the use formula and this dialog box open. It's just the same as the format cell dialog. boss. And let's do our thing. There are so many options that we have that if the condition is met, either do you want it to fill with a certain color, do you want to have borders, you have all those options. But let's input our formula first. This is why I want you to pay attention. Conditional formatting always takes the first cell of the range of cells you selected. Let me repeat that. It always takes the first cell. So I just started and I said equal to the first cell. So when the first cell is equal to the date of birth that I'm looking for, then I give it a condition that what should happen. Remember when we were doing blocking, I only selected the first cell, but it has to do with all the cells there. So make sure you take away all the dollar signs so that it will show that it's not really blocked. Then what should be my condition? If that condition is met, let me say let the cell be filled yellow and let there be an italics. I can also change the font size or anything. So far as the condition is met, you can play around with this and choose whichever work for you. What is more important is you always use the equal sign on the first cell. Is that good? Fantastic. So using the formula is another fantastic way. And I on purpose choose a small cell, that is cell C2, where I'm going to put the age. So assuming the age changes at every point, I can just be playing with it. But conditional formatting goes beyond just that. Let me go through the basic ones we did in our previous class. You can use the data set where there are various data bars you can choose from, scheme codes, and also the icon set. Icon set gives you these very icons so that you can play with it. I like to use a lot of icons when I'm dealing with figures. It brings the aesthetic value. It also guides the eyes to choose what is right easily. So here, I'm just going to choose one of the icon sets. You can play around at your end and choose which one is good at your end. And as you can see, where the value is bigger, it shows me the bars that are more. Is that not so cool? Fantastic. But do not overdo this by choosing so many rows. A little of it, which will make the people taking decision not struggle to understand what you are trying to system, is okay. But if you want to take off the row that you have in any of the cells, you go to conditional formatting and you can add the cell row. Is that not so cool? Lovely. These are the bonus tricks. But before that, let me do this magic. Let's use conditional formatting to highlight all Ghana within the list of countries. I need you to be practicing this whilst I do it. Remember, you select the range of cells, then you go to conditional formatting, and what do? Nice one there. So you just have to choose the highlight cell rule and you say either equal to or contains. And you write Ghana. You can pause at this moment and give it a try again. You know the video is for you, the tutorial class is for you, so take your time and go back and forth. I would hold your hands through the process. Now the bonus tips. How do we find the average salary for the data we have of the staff? It's Akosia Kamela Company Enterprise, and you are the new analyst there, and you want to just look at the average salary per the data we have seen here. How do you go about it? We use the average function. So you can always start the formula function with an equal sign. You open parentheses and you select that cell, that column, that cell, that within what range that has all the figures. Fantastic. You close your parentheses and bingo. As you can see in the address bar, close my parentheses and it does the average calculation for you. That is so cool. And it also saves time. Remember, it's all about being so efficient. Another trick that I'm reminding us is we want to find the third lowest salary. And the small function comes in handy here. Equal sign, small, open parentheses. The first argument is the array, which is the range of cells where you have the value. And the last one is the k. K is which number that you want to find. I want to find the third, the fourth, the fifth. So I choose the third highest is there. Now let's do a quick one on you want to find the total salary for all the staff within the department. Not every staff, but only the sales department. And sum if comes in. Do you remember what we learned that about sum if? Good. Equal sign, sum if parenthesis open. You click, you select your range, you bring your comma. My criteria here is sales. I put in my sales, and I select my sum range, which is where the figures are, and you close your parenthesis. And bingo. This is just a quick reminder. A quick recap on the main bonus itself will be my small Google sheet you see under what we want to do for Akosia Camilla Company is that we do not want to scroll through all the before we know every staff details. So you are building a simple something like a Google. Anytime you put in the staff ID, you just get this basic staff information. And XLOOKUP comes in handy. If you don't have Office 365 for 2019 or 2021, you may not have XLOOKUP. That is so cool. Don't worry about it. I'll show you another way around it. So with XLOOKUP, just like I'm doing, equal to XLOOKUP. It's one of the new functions in Excel. You select your lookup value, comma. You look up where your return values are, just like I have done. It's an easy way around it. I'm going to do it like 2 or 3 times. And at the last stage, I'm going to use VLOOKUP. Is that fine? Don't get confused. So let me put in my staff ID and let's see how the XLOOKUP works. Don't worry. Just pause at this moment and just watch. Fantastic. Anytime you put in any staff ID within the employee ID area, it gives you the name. Let's do another one. Take your time and watch me. Equal sign, XLOOKUP. My lookup value is where the ID value is. My comma. My lookup array will be all the IDs within the data. So I select the entire range and I bring my comma. And my return array are the things I want Excel to bring back when they find it. That is why I just select the entire department and I close my parentheses. And bingo. So this time around, I am not supposed to go through the entire list. So anytime I put in the staff ID, it happens. Now you can practice. Just stop now and you can just practice. Whilst I try something with the salary. The same way, equal sign, XLOOKUP, open parenthesis, the lookup value, array, return array, and fantastic. So for people who are not having XLOOKUP, don't worry. Now you can try with the old function, which is called a VLOOKUP. But I'll always recommend you choose any of the latest versions of Microsoft Excel. It's better. But if you are within the old space, I can still help you through for you to do something. You are always not lost. There is always a way around it. Let's do with our VLOOKUP. Let's say in where we want to find the region for each employee ID we enter. How do you think you're going to start? I love what you said. So it's an equal sign first, then VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP means the vertical lookup. It's the old way of doing this. I select my lookup value. The next option here would have to be double array. So the difference here is here I have to select all the range of data, including the staff ID and what I want to return. The comma. Then I have my column index. The column index is what you want to return. In which column is it? So I count 1, 2, 3, 4. That is where it is. And the last option is I have to choose exact match so that Excel will look for the exact value that I'm looking for. We assume everybody knows this. This is just a recap, but if you are lost in this, you can look at our previous video and we look at the lookup and see how powerful it is. You don't have to look within the entire data. Enter any staff ID and be. Thank you guys. My name is Gabriel. Thank you very much for this section. And if you have any other question, you can just email me or send a WhatsApp message or send a message to Camilla through the IR number or leave your comments in the comment section and I'll have a look at it. It was a pleasure meeting you guys. See you in our next class. Bye.